Hey, what's going on, guys? Man, it's your boy Benny Boondocks. Really enjoyed this conversation on What's Your Kane Story. Had to have Dmoney on from Kane's Insight. Never really had the chance to chop it up with him the way I did today, man. Got to learn more about him, learn his story, how it all began, Kane's Insight, to why he divested as a partner. I'm not gonna ruin that. You guys enjoy the show, man. Obviously, go check out CanesInsight.com. They're on every single day. Great conversation with D-Money. You will catch some edits on this because in the middle of our conversation for a good 8 minutes, my power went out. It was a bad storm in my area. The recording kept going. D-Money stayed patiently, I'm saying, checking up on news and everything like that. We jumped right back into the conversation. Hope you guys enjoy it. Remember to like, share, subscribe right down there. What's your Kane story?
Oye tú, yeah you, in the green and orange. What's your Kane story?
And we're on. D-Money, man, the legend, Kane's Insight, Hall of Fame, man that started it all. Let's start from the very beginning, bro. Where did your fandom start for this orange and green life before Kane's Insight, before you go to before all of it? Let's take it back to young D-Money. How did it all start, man?
Well, first of all, shout out to Panama. I know you rep Panama. I thought they did well in the Classic. They lost a lot of close games, but they showed well. Hopefully they can come back and get over the hump. So I wanted to make sure I got that one in there because they played well. Mm-hmm. Every game was tight. Just some bad luck. They didn't win one. For me, I mean, I grew up down here, right? So my dad was a fan, kind of a normal story on that front. I was born in 85. So when I was 6, when you're kind of figuring stuff out a little bit, Canes were on top. That was a national championship year. That's really the year I started paying attention, like the colors, just the kind of normal thing, father-son deal. And that year, I remember it was Kevin Williams, number 5 from Dallas, Texas, was a kick returner. Jesse Armstead, my favorite player, was the linebacker, number 1. Dexter Siegler, ABC, America's best corner, number 34. So that was kind of that era that I was real into it and learning about it. I remember I drew Kevin Williams returning a punt, which now I realized at the time was against Penn State. He had returned a punt against Penn State. We won, I think, 14-7 or something like that. So I remember that was one of my first drawings that I had in my house of him, number 5, returning that. So, yeah, man, the story's not that crazy. It was just good timing because being born in 85, you see him on the championship level. So that's kind of the intro that a lot of these kids are getting now, where the Canes are something cool as a young kid.
Yeah, man, like for me, it was so different because I didn't get here till 89. Didn't grow up with much. So, like, till much later, and I always talk about on the show, was like the Edgerrin James game, 97, right? 297 yards rushing, all that was my introduction to it, where it's like rainy. I was like, wait, how is it raining there? Now putting together like, oh, it's Miami, right? So I'm 11, 12 years old, and it's crazy. And then I'm just locked in from that moment. So with Armstead being your favorite player, is that when it was like, all right, I'm going to be locked into this team and obsessed with them for the rest of my life?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because they were on top, so it was the thing. The Dolphins weren't like that with Dan Marino. The Heat weren't really what they were, although I was a Heat fan. It just wasn't that kind of caliber where you're the best. Marlins weren't even a thing at that point. I liked the A's with, like, Jose Canseco, Ricky Henderson. That was kind of like the Cuban team since we didn't have the Marlins yet. But so that was it, man. And then the next year, I remember we lost to Alabama. I'd gotten a shirt at All Sports, and my dad got me a shirt, which is like already about us beating them, even though we hadn't won. Which probably explains why they lost the game. They're already printing the shirts. I gotta ask Harry Rothwell because he's a sponsor now. And that was kind of an ill-advised shirt. They were printing out beating Alabama like it was already done. They hadn't lost in a few years, so I understand why they were feeling so good about themselves. But that was obviously a tough loss. And then what's crazy is after that was the probation, it was the downfall. So really, I had the two extremes, which is I came up and my first memories was us being dominant. That's how I saw it here. But then really the reality of me, like the years that I'm growing up, learning about football, like playing a little bit, like just kind of like actually coming of age, we weren't very good because that's 93, let's say, to 2000. That's 7-8 years right there in the middle of up, like growing up, where it was either down or just staying down, going down or staying down. So, and then slowly coming up towards the end. So that shaped me a lot because I thought we were supposed to be here, but then I'm seeing it here, knowing that when it works, where it could be. So that kind of frayed my mindset as far as like always believing that we could go to the top because
and then it's crazy, right? Because like you got to see say 1991 then the downfall with the probation, and then 2000, 2001, 2002, where you're like, this is the greatest football team ever created in the history of anything. And like seeing that spectrum is crazy. And then fast forward 20 years of, oh, this is 53% winning percentage, and like at the struggle to back where it is now. Dude, what a 30-year run of like madness, bro.
That's why I always stay confident in the deal, and I was always optimistic.
Yep.
People said I was being a homer, just pumping sunshine, because I came up like I remember when Dan Morgan was a freshman, Reggie Wayne was a freshman. Those guys both did work earlier in their career. Damian Lewis, who's now a coach, he was like the big signee at that time. They'll bring us back. So like I was there at Ken Dorsey's first practice. He had shaved head, because back then they used to shave their heads. This is like a skinny
freshman,
6'6" dude with a 6'5" dude with a shaved head. He looked crazy, but like I mean, bald, you know. So I remember seeing him, and okay, he's going to be the one that carries us through. So like having lived through that, you see that it can build back up. So truthfully, this 20-year stretch, which is a lot longer in retrospect than that 90s stretch, this is longer. I still kind of felt it could come back because I'd seen it go through that process. That's why I was always so confident, just because I grew up in the probation era, and at the end of the, you know, at the end of the rainbow or whatever, at the end of the path was the best team ever. And it took a while to get there. So this one's a little longer path, but I think we're starting to come on the other side of it now.
It's so crazy, right? Because we go back and try to think of the last 2 decades of just college football in general, and how much has changed, right? Since that 03 season to now 2026, the season we just experienced. Like college football is nothing at all like what we remember it, and it's evolved so much. Like as you follow it through your career, now covering it full time, like how crazy is it in that time frame, man?
You know, it's kind of like if I had to bring an example of it, it's kind of like it's a weird example, but whatever. You know, I'm obviously Cuban, so we're focused on communism at all times.
Yes,
that's the thing. We're always kind of have our third
it's always
eye
right there. Yes,
personally, still do really.
Yeah.
But it's like when the Berlin Wall fell, it was kind of like you had this thing held up for a long time, and then the Berlin Wall fell, and then boom, right? It was crazy. Everybody was the world changed real fast, particularly in that side of the world. So to me, the NCAA and college football is kind of a similar deal, where they had this system, which is ridiculous if you really look at it, where they're making money selling TV rights, and these players are not getting paid. And then like the president of like the Orange Bowl committee or whatever is getting paid like, you know, 600 G's or whatever for one day of a bowl.
For one game.
Right. And then he doesn't play. No one's there to see him. So it's like the whole system, when you really look at it, it's insane. But it was a long, long time, and people just kind of accepted it, and there was no way you can get out of it. And then once it falls, boom. I think that's kind of where we're at now, where people are trying to take advantage of it. People are trying to take advantage of the chaos. They're trying to make rules, figure it out. And that's kind of where we sit right now. Ultimately, I think it's a great thing because, number one, it was just incredibly unfair to the players. Like, we're going to look back on it like, how badly were these guys getting ripped off in retrospect? And then number two, from Miami perspective, you know, we get in probation for nothing. I'm talking about like hundreds of dollars, you know, Benihana's dinners. And these other guys were paying 40 G's for players and having dynasties. The SEC, I think now everybody knows what the SEC was doing. Coaches are joking about it in public because the gig is up. So they can't be protected in that way anymore. So as a Canes fan who was part of that, where you cannot even try to cheat like that because you get killed for much less, and you don't have the institutional protection of like the NCAA. I'm glad that system's done because it allows Miami to flourish, and also, of course, allows these players to make life-changing money for the things that they were already doing for decades.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about it, right? Like we always, as fans, as when I say we, is like we focus on the anomalies, like the Bryce Underwoods of the world with however much money he's getting, and you hear these millions. We don't think of the fact that like a lot of these players and a lot of these kids come from almost nothing. So like 150, 200 grand is life-changing money where they're able to see the world. Like you just see JJ Sparks, you know what I'm saying, at Real Madrid, getting to experience that, which is an opportunity he wouldn't have had otherwise. Like they don't, we focus on like, oh, they shouldn't make this much money as fans. We're like, hey bro, like they've done this for 18 years of their life. They've probably been doing this since they could walk. They've already given so much of their, like, that's just their right. And TV contracts are billions of dollars. We're arguing over this. Don't argue over the billions. But hey, this kid shouldn't get paid this much. It's crazy.
It's a ripoff. Like, you know, we always focus on the kids that it's truly changing their lives and their families' lives, which is great. I mean, talking about people in struggle situations. They're all different. All these kids are different, right?
The
kids that have money, they're getting ripped. They're getting ripped off too. Honestly, the only difference is they probably know it a little better sometimes. You know, like, so it's like everybody's like, no one wants to get ripped off. I don't care who you are. Like, if someone ripped you off for 300 G's or ripped me off for 300 G's, you're not gonna be very happy about the situation.
No.
And a lot of times, like, the kids that are being taken advantage of, like you mentioned, the ones that really have very, very challenging backgrounds, they're just trying to, like, okay, if this is my best chance to go to the NFL, whatever, sign me up, I'm going to do it. But like, it was unfair to the start. It was exploitation, really, was what it was. So I'm glad that all of these kids are getting an opportunity to share in the money they're making. And 33 million people watching Miami against Indiana. So I mean, I don't know what the Oscars was yesterday. I wasn't watching that because I was at the WBC. Probably wouldn't watch it anyways. But like, I think what they do, like 18 million for those Oscars.
Yeah.
You talk about Miami, Indiana, 33 million.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was so crazy and so unfair. You know what was like the first like eye-opening thing when I'm starting to follow college football more and more? Go back to like Johnny Manziel, like what he did, like how he galvanized college football. Like nobody was watching Texas A&M before that. Like nobody cared. Like, but that Texas A&M Alabama game, I'm a casual casual fan in that sense. For like, I'm not watching them, but I'm locking in. I was like, Johnny, like what he made for Texas A&M is like, he obviously is NIL. Like, they stole so much money from him because they're selling his jersey, selling his likeness, and doing all that stuff. That was one of those that like he galvanized an issue. Was like, oh man, they're getting ripped off, bro. This is crazy.
Well, they'd make money. They had to spend it somewhere. So that's why they were building all these ridiculous facilities. Because they had to spend the money somewhere. They couldn't pay the players. So that's a better way for them to get players. So they would make all that money and put it right back into these facilities. But like, who benefited from that? The people building it, which was all inside deals anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it really was a screwed up system. I know this is getting off track, but like, it was always another reason, just kind of the My Canes story part. I always grew up thinking that we were getting screwed because it was the probation era. And we were the ones having to suffer the consequences, knowing that all these teams were cheating like crazy. So that was a frustration from the beginning, because I came up as a fan. A lot of people listening to your show went through that probation period, and it sucked. We had no scholarships. Like, it's a miracle we were able to do what we did and get out of it as fast as we did because of Butch Davis. But it was tough, man. It was tough to be on that side of the equation when everybody else is making money and cheating and enriching themselves.
Yeah, I'm back.
You're good.
My whole power just went out. So
I was about to say, I think I hit that tornado. I was worried you're going to be in Kansas.
Yeah, dude. I thought I was about to Dorothy. I'm not here anymore. That shit was crazy. I don't know what the fuck happened there. All right, but so yeah, we're talking NIL. It was a huge ripoff for absolutely all the players, right? And how being, you know what I'm saying, having the insight, see what I did there? Having the insight on the things you know now, like how different is it within the last 5 years? Not so much for like what the players are making. We don't tap pockets here. But the stories you hear, like the good stories, right? Of like how they're able to help their parents. Like we saw Ruben Bain when he was able to buy his mom a car. Like those moments, you know, are so few and far between, which I'm sure Mark Fletcher did the same thing for his mom because she doesn't fly, which is to me that she drives to every game. As a driver, I drive for. She's incredible, bro. She's one of the loudest human beings I've ever been around. Go back to like the Canes party when they did at the stadium. We get to, meet the fans and the players and all that stuff after. She sat in front of me, right? And dude, like, it echoes in the building. Like, it's very impressive, like how much love she has for her son. Where it was like inspiring. It was like, holy, okay, that's clearly Mark Fletcher's mom. Not calling him Mark Fletcher, calling him by his birth name. If you know it, you know it. Man, it was so like seeing what you get to see now. Or we'll jump back to earlier times. Like how important is those moments like for NIL for these players, man, that you get to talk to?
Oh, huge. I mean, that sort of thing, next level, obviously, from an emotional standpoint, and just being able to take care of the people who took care of you. On top of that, just from a football standpoint, is they get trainers now. They have trainers in the offseason on top of what they already have with the school. They can pay for food when they do want to eat the right way. Although these guys are 20, so they're still going to probably eat some fast food anyways.
Yes,
but they can't eat better food. and just in general, being able to stay in college when a lot of guys wanted to stay, but they felt they had to leave. And you saw over the years in Miami, for a number of reasons, the program's better too. So you want to stay more because the team is better, but also like you had guys leaving early who had to leave and they shouldn't have left long-term, but there was a short-term pressure. That short-term pressure is now removed so they can make better decisions.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like it's one of those things we don't talk about, right? Like one of my favorite players on this team for a long time has been Ahmad Moten, right? Ahmad Moten has had a son while his time in college, and the difference for him pre-baby and post has been astronomical, man.
Yeah.
Like the mentality, like one day I'll look forward to talking to him, and I've had some interactions, but like just purely on the field, that's a totally different player. And he's being able to provide for his son in a way that like other college players that had kids in their college time wouldn't have been able to have. Like it's crazy, man. Like
speaking of sons, let me tell my son to stop shooting hoops right in front of the studio. I'm right here. Hold on. Yo, that excuse he has to leave him to make, So Ahmad Moten. That's how these guys will miss like 10 shots in a row to keep playing. But Ahmad Moten is a great, young man. You mentioned that the kid was a huge factor in his development. Not that he was behind before; it was just part of the process of getting older.
Yep.
And he's another one where he's taking care of his family.
Yeah.
But he's here. He could be. He could be a 5th round, 6th round pick, like Leonard Taylor undrafted. Not that he would be that, probably because of how he finished, but still, like less than he should have been. Richard McIntosh, Kendrick Norton. Yeah. Like it's just these guys, they have to go, and then they don't get picked as high as they could be. And it's not their fault. It's not something you hold against them. It's just there's a lot of pressure to do that. Whereas with these kids now, they have less pressure to leave. I think that makes them better as professionals, and it's going to just allow them to enjoy being in college because they're not going to have more fun than they're having winning in their hometown. Yeah,
definitely. All right, let's get to Dmoney story, man. You go to get your degrees. Did you graduate with?
I didn't go to UM. That's the thing. Okay. I didn't go to UM. So UM, you know this because you were out here. People don't realize UM is a very expensive school. And for me, I was really not that good a student in high school. I was just kind of a goof off.
Preaching.
I went to Belen Jesuit, which is, shout out the best high school in South Florida. But, Belen's a real strict academic school. So if you're not doing homework, if you're not on point, you're going to get bad grades. There's no kind of coasting by and having success because they'll ding you on not doing your homework. It's a Jesuit type education, which is good now that I'm old. But I had bad grades. I wouldn't have gotten into any of these schools. But there's a program in the state where if you're Hispanic and you hit a certain score, you automatically go to a state school as a scholar. Kind of a messed up system considering I'm not even on the honor roll of my own high school and I'm going into the honors college of a school. It was kind of a backwards system. I mean, I had like a 2.8. You know what I mean? Like this is a really backwards rule, but whatever, it favored me, so I'm gonna roll with it. So I went to UF because of that, because it was I could go to school for free. Right.
Yeah.
I screwed up my whole academic part before. So I went there. Obviously, I hated the Gators. I cannot. There's no one I hate more than the Gators. And it was a good test because when I went up there was when we started. When I went up there in 2003, so we were on top of the world when I got there. But then it was a straight, and we beat them the first year with Brock Berlin. But it was a straight downhill, and they were straight uphill. By the time I left, it was Tebow and Urban Meyer and all that. So it was, But at the same time, it was very easy to hate the Gators just because being around there, you see how corny they are. It's just there's nothing to really attach yourself to being there. I couldn't understand the vibe. I really couldn't. Like, to me, a lot of nerds, like a lot of kids that just kind of got to school and like, oh, man, football's big here. Let me just Google football. You know what I mean? That was a lot of that vibe. The people always make fun of the Gators for being rednecks. The rednecks are cool. You probably know a lot of them. You're up in your neck of the woods. They're cool. They'll fight you, whatever, but they're for their team. The kids that go to UF, they're just nerds. So it's a different dynamic with those kids. But I guess I was one of them, but I was not part of that fan base. So I would drive down every. It was me and my wife. I met my wife my senior year.
You met her at UF?
No, I met her down here. I went to high school deal. So our first like big date, I told her on my show. Our first big date went to the Fiesta Bowl. So I'm like, I was going there anyway. So like, I kind of went on a limb. It was expensive. You take a plane ticket, buy a ticket out there. Like, come with me and my family. This is early.
Wow.
And then
shoot Dmoney. Okay, you went big, bro. You went big.
But then, we lost. I flip out. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, probably like, what the hell is this guy's problem?
Yes.
This guy's kind of a maniac. But it worked. Worked out. We stayed together. Although, my personal life went up a little bit, but my Canes life went down significantly. So it's two diverging paths there at the same time.
Yeah.
So I went to UF with her. At that point, I got pretty close to on point because I was already with my wife, so I was pretty and that might as well be good at school there. Where there's not much, I'm domesticated at that point. Not that I was too much of a party anyways, but I had nothing else to do. And she was a beast, so she kind of set a good pace. And she hated the Gators too, by the way. She was not trying to go to UF at all. She hates the Gators more than me. She just she had a full ride to Vanderbilt. And,
right.
And
oh, wow.
She was actually a beast. And she was like, coming from a tough background, and she was going there. She actually turned that down to go to UF with me because that was the only place I can get into.
Right.
So,
wow.
So she
pulled you up by your bootstraps. She pulled you up.
100. That's a good way to put it. That's exactly. She's gonna like that one when she hears that on the show. But that's exactly what happened. So we were both there hating the Gators together, and then I was on the message boards and stuff, kind of like as a fan. I would go down. I actually go down to practice during that time. So I come down to every game. I drive down and then drive back up. And if it was local, like Clemson or something, I could drive up from where I was, or Florida State or whatever. And then during the spring, I would go down to practice to watch from the parking garage, because back then,
because back you could,
right. So we would park in the parking garage, and I remember, man, I'd be sitting there, and the car would look like Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic. Remember when he was with the chick and it was all steamed up? That's how the car looked, because you had to be in the car, but you couldn't turn it on because then the security guard would see it was on.
Yeah,
and it was like August, so it was super hot, or spring, whatever. It was real hot, whatever time it was. So it was always steamed up just watching this practice. So I'd be doing that the whole time. I'd write practice reports up on at that time it was Canes Time. Grassy, I guess, was the first one that became Canes Time. Eventually became CanesInsight. We'll get to that part. But I would just post the practice reports from what I was seeing in the garage. And that was how I kind of started posting, with my name being Dmoney, because I had the same name since I was like 15.
Yeah.
So as I got older, I was still the same name. And that's how I started kind of being, I guess, somewhat known on the message boards, just because I was posting the practice reports and people wanted to hear what was happening in practice. And I was just spying on it basically from the parking garage.
But where did that start, man? Like, where did your, first of all, that's a crazy drive. Gainesville, South Florida. If you don't know, that's what, 6 hours, roughly 5-6 hours.
Well, that was CD era. So you put CDs on and you listen to I don't know, however many CDs. You time it out, maybe like 5 or 6. So you time up the CDs. You burn the CDs. I don't do the CDs anymore, but
CDRs, dude. You made your own mix. It's crazy, dude.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
That's how you test it out.
You make those drives. Like, where did that it has to be almost an obsession, right? Like, you're making those drives, watching spring ball and watching fall ball, and where did that start? Like, hey man, I want to post about this. Which would further later become CanesInsight. Like, where did that start? Like, where did you know? Yo, this is what I want to do.
As far as just wanting to do, I mean, I didn't know I wanted to do all this. I just was doing it because I was there and I wanted to talk about it with people. I've been going to practices since I was little, just kind of live kind of around there. So I grew up around there. So I would be able to go to practice and watch when it was open. So I was always kind of in my brain. So then I just would go to watch it and see who's these recruits we've been talking about the whole time. How do they actually look? How are they playing? So it was just really just wanting to see it, number one. And then after I saw it, I'm like, I might as well post about it, So that was how that would happen. After a while, it became kind of like, oh, that's the expectation. You had to dodge the security guard. He was like 90, so it wasn't that hard. But RIP to him. It got a lot harder now. The irony is, and I'm skipping ahead in the story here a little bit, but it's funny because they don't have the same system anymore with the garage. But now my wife is she's a psychology professor at UM, so her building is the parking garage for her building is the same parking garage. That's her building, so she can actually see practice. So we went from the penthouse to the outhouse to the penthouse. You know what I mean? With that situation, kind of sneaking in, and now I can watch on the field, and she's up there too in her office. So it's kind of funny how it all worked out in that way. But yeah, they're much more strict now. You can't sneak around here with Mario.
No.
You're going to Guantanamo if you're sneaking around.
You'll never be seen again. Everything you ever posted will erase. It's It's like Men in Black. Nobody will ever know you even existed. It's like somebody will have a memory and then just get flashed again. Y'all remember D-Money? Nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Like, so your wife ends up being a professor at UM, which is crazy. Smaller campus. When you first get to go there and she gets the job, right? Like, what was that like? Right? Because it's like it's the one thing was like your wife gets to go teach at a school that you're obsessed with, right? And then you walk through the campus. For people who don't know about Canes campus and like tell them about it, like what it's like, because a lot of people don't realize how beautiful it is.
Oh yeah, no, it's in the middle of Coral Gables. I mean, it's expensive. It's expensive school. It's like I was saying earlier, like the people go there, especially nowadays, more so than even before. I mean, they're talking about super, not everybody, but a lot of students are real paid. It's becoming the school where rich, like the parents are billionaires. Like a lot of the famous billionaires you see are going there now. I think Bezos' a stepson or daughter, one of those is going there. You know, Trump's granddaughter goes there, but like a lot. That's just a small sliver. There's a lot of people's kids that are going there now. But her getting the job was later. That was pretty recent. I was already had the website, but yeah, I went to, so after UF, I went to law school and she went to do her psychology thing. And we went to DC, DMV basically.
Okay.
And she was working at Johns Hopkins, which is in Baltimore. And I was at Georgetown. So I didn't go to UM at all. I had no UM ties whatsoever. Neither did she, really. Like no one in my family had my sister ended up graduating from there, but no one. We don't really have a ton of UM ties. My parents didn't go there. It wasn't a thing like that. Which is again, a lot of people have a similar connection with UM that they didn't have any school ties with them, with the UM, which I didn't either. So then anyway, went to school, became a lawyer, came back down, and then when I came back down as a lawyer, this is when some of the CanesInsight stuff started happening. Yeah,
like dude, like because like my only like relation to you is like I thought you like had gone through UM completely, because like you're so Canes about this, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where like you just like I didn't know, like I'm having conversations like I don't know who went or who didn't, and it's just because like it's so ingrained in us as a fabric of who we are in this shit, like in the conversations we have every day, like how obsessive. Look, to run a website, to run a podcast that you do every single day now, and to do all that stuff, like I was like, oh, it's always been Canes. So like you go from UF to Georgetown. Hey,
but it's always been, make no mistake, it was always Canes the whole way through beyond. Like there was nothing even a sliver. Like I was like at Georgetown, it's funny because like, you know, it's DC, so it's real political. So people would be like, and some people like that stuff. So some people would be like camping out to like go to like Supreme Court arguments, like it was like March Madness, you know, or like Duke against USC. You know, they had those camps to get the tickets. They were doing that for these Supreme Court arguments, and I mean, God bless them. That was not really my thing. So I was already like, I was like trying to see if Arthur Brown was committed. You know what I mean? Marcus Forsted, whoever.
Arthur Brown.
Yeah. So that was that whole time. That was all I would do, especially when it's a, you know, it's a high academic deal. So you're working a lot of papers and stuff, and then that's kind of the unwind aspect of it, is to go on the boards and talk to Canes fans and figure that out. So it was all Canes the whole time. It just has never been the school part, which I mean, you know, I mean, you were in the Army, so you didn't go to UM, right? So
no,
a lot of most people are like that, and I think that's why the only reason I like UM even more is because when I was in DC, people were repping UM. I'm sure you got people listening now that'll say they're DC. I mean, you know, Joy Williams, he's at NYC. So there's a lot of what I've learned doing the site. One of the things I've learned most is demographically, you know, we're big in the cities. A lot of older people. I say older people, talk about my age, you know, like your age, like people that were kind of around for that era. And they're big city people, like people that they're not in Athens, Georgia or Tuscaloosa. They're from DC, Charlotte, Atlanta, New York, places like that. And they like the Canes. They like the aura. They like the colors, the attitude. You know, if Notre Dame is this, Miami's this, we're on this side, kind of like the Oakland Raiders back in the day. That I've learned having the site and seeing the numbers of where people come from. There's a big part of our fan base.
Yeah, like it's so crazy, right? Because like it is a big city vibe, but you go to Coral Gables, it's a small town, and like it's the entire, it's almost the entire city. Like you go to the campus, you're like you're expecting this like huge thing where like all Coral Gables is that, like the Tuscaloosas, the Athens, where like the whole town is that. But you go there, it's like, no, it's this quaint little university. You know what I mean? A couple 100 acres or whatever it is. Obviously, the campus is growing with like satellite places and stuff like that. But you go there, it's like, no, man, it's just this small little quaint area that's completely beautiful, and it's fantastic. You won't think of that at all from like where the fans show up. You're absolutely right. It doesn't make sense, right? Like this small little town, but like it reverberates in big cities in a way nothing else does for those older Kane fans like us. Because now we were bad for so long, we held on to the greatness, right? We held on to the greatness, and now we're seeing it again. And I'm sure you see it in your numbers where like there's younger and younger people now watching because our demographics are roughly 35 plus, right? For the most part, because if it got handed down to be a fan, but like now you're seeing 17s, 18s, because Cam Wards, the Mark Fletchers, the Malachi Tonys, like how different has that been? And you're seeing it now because like we're not only good again, we're relevant, we're determined, and we have a culture that we didn't have for a long time.
Yeah, definitely seeing more younger people kind of say what's up and say they like the show. That's a newer thing. Like people that go to the school, like college age people.
Yeah,
that's new, and then definitely younger fans who like my kids are 11 and under. So seeing their friends really like Malachi and Cam Ward and Restrepo and all these guys, Mark Fletcher. So that I've seen from that perspective. Like I go to drop my kid off at baseball and all the people are, hey, this guy, Eli's dad knows Mally, which I don't know really. I mean, I've talked to him a couple times, I know his mom, but it's not like, but like just being associated with UF like that is cool to these kids. Where it used to not be like that.
Yeah, it wasn't. Man, like it's so crazy. So you go from sitting in a car in a parking lot with no AC because you couldn't have it running because a 90-year-old security guard is gonna kick you out to starting CanesInsight through as many different iterations. When did you make the pivot to leave being a lawyer, right, to doing this full time and just completely giving in, man? Because that's a hell of a dedication, right? Like that's big.
I mean, late. I mean, I was, usually social media influencers or whatever you want to call it, their prime is not 40, so, a little past my prime to do the switch, but that's how it was really. So I started the website pretty much when I got out of law school and started being a lawyer down here. Just because I saw the site that I was on, Grassy was what it used to be called. And I guess Canes Time Scout, whatever you want to call it. People have different names for it depending when they started watching it. But it kind of collapsed, and I saw it was collapsing. So my partner, Andrew, at the time, was a great dude. He built the site like quickly. He's like, hey, listen, when things go awry there, because it was kind of heading that way, this site's ready. They can come right on it right now. So right when basically, for those who don't know, Grassy was like the first Cane site. This is like 1995 era. Hurricanes is when it first started. The guy's name was Brian Knoll, so the website was called Grassy, like Grassy Knoll from JFK.
Yeah.
So that was the site for Canes fans forever. Then Rivals kind of came in. Furman was more of a newspaper guy, like a newsletter, and then he's a guy with Rivals, and they started doing their thing. So those were really how it started. And I was always on the Scout side. I was on both, but that was where I posted more: the Scout, Grassy, Eye of the Hurricanes, that side. So I saw it kept getting sold. And when it gets sold, they bring in new moderators because it'd be like CBS owns it or whatever. So when they had a new owner come in, they were like really moderating some longtime dudes because like they had a new policy about what you could and couldn't post. I think some of it was post like Aaron Andrews stuff, It's probably not the best way to start a website, because
right, correct.
For Aaron Andrews. But anyways, they got banned because of something they posted. So I'm like, all right, well, listen, everybody's getting banned. Everybody's mad at the authorities, for lack of a better word. Come over here to this free site and just do whatever you want. So people came over there, and then that's how CanesInsight started. And it was kind of a free for all. I was already a young lawyer at the time. So this is, it was a larger law firm. So really busy at that young age. So I was really not doing too much other than just posting and kind of enjoying the site. But because the community came over all at once, we had 2,000, 3,000 members like overnight. So you had a functioning community from the start. It's hard to build like that because there's not enough action. But when you bring the action with you, the site was pretty live from the start. So that was doing it. Peter Reese came over to do I'd seen him at a camp. Actually saw him at a camp. Stephon Diggs was there. Derrick Henry was a sophomore. This was at Miami. So Derrick Henry was a sophomore. So I think it was like 2010 or 2011. Like right when I started, maybe 2012 was when I started kind of realizing I needed some recruiting stuff. And this kid, Peter was there. He was still in high school. He was a kid, but I saw he was
Mhm.
interested. So I'm like, all right, come on over and do the recruiting coverage for us. And then we kind of grew from there because he was starting to get recruiting interviews and stuff, and we were all free. So people liked that. And from that, we grew quite a bit. I was always doing my lawyer thing while the site just percolated.
Yeah.
People talked to each other. It wasn't like we were putting out a ton of stories and things that require a lot of oversight. It was more about the community, people talking, and then Peter doing a few things.
Mhm.
So that just grew and grew and grew and grew. I was still doing the lawyer thing. I became a partner. Like this was the path. Like there was nothing.
Yeah, you were locked in. Yeah.
Derailing that path. It was progressing the right way. But then the site started doing good. And then I figured out you could monetize the site, which I didn't even realize to the degree I could monetize it while I was still a lawyer. And then I'm like, man, so this is a real thing. And then I saw YouTube started getting big. And I'm like, oh man, you can kind of control your own distribution on the YouTube, and you don't have to, you want to be on TV. You don't have to be on a TV station. You can kind of own the TV station. Right. So I saw that. I'm like, oh man, so this is actually a real thing. And one day out of the blue, and again, I'm already a partner. Like everything's kind of rolling the right direction. I was walking around. I thought of it. I'm like, man, I'm running the numbers in my head. I'm like, because I got 3 kids at this time. I can't just go on a limb if I didn't have something to do. So I was like, all right, well, listen, the numbers make sense. I think I could do this full time. And once it clicked in my head, I was like, all right, decisions made. I kind of make quick decisions. I don't really agonize too much over decisions. So that was it. Once I decided I was going to do it, I walked home. I talked to my wife about it. She was all good. And I just wrote the plan out. And that was about 2020. That was right before that Tyler Van Dyke year. So, first year wasn't too good. I thought I was going to, when they forgot to kneel the ball, I thought I was going to have to be begging for my job.
Right back.
Which, by the way, I never left my job. I'm still actually with the firm. I just gave back my partnership shares, and everybody was kind of talked about the deal because nothing preceded it. So they were like, I was kind of out of nowhere from their perspective, but they were awesome, and it's all amicable. I would never have left to another law firm. Great people and great company, but it was just made the decision to do this other thing, and kind of ever since that, been doing it ever since at full time. So that was 23. Yeah. So this was the third full season, I think. Or was it let's see. Trying to get my memory right. Actually, you know what? I think it was after the Tyler Van Dyke season.
Okay. After the 5 and 7.
No, it was definitely after the 5 and 7. Yeah. So I think this was after the. Sorry, I know this is bad podcasting. I'm just in a whirlwind. I'm trying to get my brain wrapped. Last couple of years has been full time. So far, so good.
Yeah, no, it's not. You've been doing well. You guys have been killing it over there, man. Like when did you go? Hey, man, look, this website's doing their thing. I go, you know what? Let's put my face behind it, because at that point, I guess some people knew you had running into some people. Like, let's start doing this podcasting thing for real. Get on YouTube and make that change. Because a lot of people who start podcasting don't realize the important, like getting comfortable. Because I'm sure those first couple episodes, you're trying to figure it out, and then you catch a different rhythm. Like, when was it that you go, you know what? I want to put my face behind it and people to know who Dmoney is and steamroll that way.
Yeah, it's like Joey would know this, but Ghostface Killah has a line. It's like, since the face been revealed, game got real. Because Ghostface used to rap with the mask on. The story was he had like a warrant or something, so he had to put the mask on so they wouldn't see him. And he took it off. So I always kind of thought of it like that. But yeah, I mean, I went, before I went full time, I was starting to put my face out there. So that was a change kind of that led up to it, just putting my toe in the water. I didn't want to do it just because I have a full on career, so I was trying not to mix the two too much while I was doing both. And while the law was still the main focus. So. But once I did that, I mean, it was fine. This job to me is not that hard, because I mean, like, it's like, obviously being a lawyer is a lot of work, but forget being a lawyer, like, driving a truck, you know what I mean? Like laying tile, like, this job is an easy job. We're blessed to be able to do it. So to me, this is easy work. I mean, quite frankly, like, I love to do it. So that makes it easier in the community, but like, we hope to give entertainment or just time passing to people that actually have to work real jobs.
Yeah.
I've been in that situation. It's like, it's not fun. You're just pushing through. So that's kind of my, like, the podcasting, like, taking it seriously. Maybe I should take it more serious, but to me, it's like, we're so blessed to do this.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be like, oh man, this is like something, this is hard work or people are like, oh, you're grinding. Like, I'm not grinding. Like, you know what I mean? The guy that's building the house grinding. The person that's talking about this stuff on TV or whatever, YouTube, this is not a grind. We're blessed to be able to do this thing. So hopefully we do a good job for the people that are on the clock, try to listen and get their mind off it.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back a little bit this past season, man. Before the season kicked off, you cut a WWE promo video. I watched it. You're wearing a leather jacket, standing in front of a green screen, and you say, was it January 19th, we're gonna be in the national championship.
I said we'd win it too, but so we were almost there.
Right there. We're right there. Hey, and then you go through the season, right? And I think you went to a SMU game, and you're there. After that, you're sitting in the stands. You're seeing the players come up.
No, I didn't go to SMU. I didn't go to SMU. Okay. My son had a baseball tournament, so I was here.
Okay. So you're sitting home, and you're watching it, and you see that happen. What were you like? Do you think what's about to happen happens, or are you? Because you're an optimist, right? Like, how do you go there? Like, that happens with that team we have, which that team we had, and how do you process that to think that on January 19th we're going to be playing at home against Indiana?
Well, I did the video first, so I didn't have to do the video. It'd be a lot harder to do it in the middle of the season, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's funny. Those videos I've been doing those for a while. I used to do them audio, and then I started doing video once I started going on video. Just kind of and they're always the same format because you kind of do bad the year before, so you have to start with like an R&B song. You kind of pump yourself up a little bit and start get a little like a rap song or something behind you to actually talk bad about other teams and get hyped. And then you kind of leave it on some gospel thing to get people excited. Pretty much the same formula every year because we were bad every year. Maybe this year I'll switch up the formula because we're pretty good. But yeah, after SMU, it sucked. I mean, that was horrible. And because you knew it was right there, but at the same time, there's a game the next week, right? So not that we had to play. We didn't have to take any snaps, we didn't have to go to practice. We're just sitting there watching it, but it's kind of like, all right, well, how could we, as far as me coming on talking about it, you got to talk about ways to get there. Like, okay, this got to get fixed. You could win here, you win here, win here, win here. And honestly, my focus was more on winning that month because that had been a terrible time of the year for Miami fans. Yeah. So it's like, can we actually finish strong once and then let the chips fall where they fall? That was more the thought process. But at the end of the day, we didn't do anything. We just sat there and watched the show. So luckily it was a good one.
Yeah, it was what a season, man. Have you we've had mostly down seasons, right? Through content, through fans. Have you found it this season to be different? Like I talked about it on last night's show whenever this airs, it was a couple weeks ago by now. But a lot of years we have hope, right? We hope so-and-so player comes in and develops and does his thing. And now it's changed to where it's expectation, right? Like we know what this roster is. We've seen the development. We've seen the creatures by all accounts that we've recruited. Like, is this different? Because I know you, and you get to see it on a more personal basis with what I'm saying, being down there and all that stuff. Like, this is different, right, than any other offseason we've had in a really long time. Where even last year we're okay, Carson Beck, well, he has an offseason where he's not going to throw till April or May. This year's Darian Mensah. Year before is Cam Ward, but we know it's this year feels different, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny you say that. I was thinking about that the other day because expectations aren't always that fun. There's a lot of pressure. I think back to those early 2000 teams, and I remember being real nervous a lot because you had sat through probation. You're like, this is our shot. These guys are all seniors, or juniors or whatever. This is the guys you've been waiting for. Now they're here. You got to win. If you don't win it this year, those guys go, and then no guarantee there'll be another wave behind them, which there wasn't, as we learned.
No, there was not.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of extra nerves when it comes with expectations. I try to be more just enjoying it. Hey, enjoy the championship. People are like, oh, you're bummed about the championship. I'm not really that bummed about the championship at all. I was happy to be there. That was pretty sick. I've been in some pretty bad stadiums for 20 years. This was not in my top 50 bad stadium walkouts personally, because at least you had, look, it was a good game. You lost. You were there. You belonged there. The game was as marquee as it got. It got 8 million more viewers than the year before with Ohio State, Notre Dame. We were in the building. So I want to just more appreciate being in the conversation, Mally on the cover of the video game, things like that, because seeing now my kids and my kids got into Canes late because we sucked, for one thing.
Yes.
Number two, it's Cam Ward was really the one that got him into it. So people think of the Cam Ward season, they're like, oh, this is the year that we didn't, win at the end and we didn't get to the playoff. To me, it's like, this is the year that my kids started to like it, which they're going to like it for hopefully 50, 60 years, or however long they're around, hopefully very long.
Yeah.
So, that to me was a successful season from that perspective. And a lot of people have a similar story with their kids or themselves getting into it because of Cam Ward and Restrepo and these guys. So I try to look more like appreciate as it happens, as opposed to having expectations. Because at the end of the day, what is it? They have expectations for themselves that are going to be more important than whatever expectations I got for them and someone sitting on my couch. So I just try to enjoy kind of what we're watching and make sure that, my kids, in my case, can see it, appreciate it, understand it, and, enjoy the moment. So they're not just always looking for, like, we don't get a ring, they can win a ring. It's like one of my fingers. So I try to just enjoy it more now that I'm older and having seen how much it sucks to not be in the conversation.
Yeah. But again, like I said, 53% winning percentage for 20 years. That's what we were talking about. And you see it now. We see the buildings being built, right? Like they extended the IPF and all these things. And you see the investment in the program. As a person who's followed us for as long as you, what is it? Almost, what are you at? 8 million posts and counting? Probably now. I'm going to go assume
7.9. 7.9.
I was so close. And that was a complete guess. I was close at 8. I was right there.
We're knocking the door, man. I gotta change once it happens. I'll probably still say 7.9 because it's been so long, but we're knocking on the door. We got a couple commitments. We'll be all right.
Yeah, that should probably likely soon. And you see like the investments that have been put in the program. How far is it like night and day for those of us who haven't seen it grow the way it has, right? Like how far, like what are the differences, not just the staff and all that, but the university, what they've invested in the program?
Yeah, major difference. And honestly, it's timing too, because this basically started, the process on this one started, meaning the process to get Mario and to spend more money started right after that Michigan State game. Kenneth Walker, who actually just helped win the Super Bowl, he kind of helped the Canes really, because he killed us at Michigan State. And after that game, that's when the Kirk Herbstreit thing was. That's kind of when things started moving in that direction. It started there. It wasn't like a small, a late thing, right? It started there and it continued. So probably since then, the game changed a lot alongside that. That's when the portal was really picking up. That's when NIL was really picking up. So all those things happen at the same time. So it wasn't like, we always thought that Miami investing in the program meant like facilities and stuff like that, which really our facilities have improved, and they're expanding the IPF right now. But it's not like our facilities are just blowing everybody away. They're better. They're not bad at all. They're good. But that's not the difference. It's because NIL came, portal came, we brought in Cristobal, and he was able to manage that. And then he had backing from the important people, a lot of people helping to fund it all. So that's the biggest change, is that we are changing. Like college football was here for many years, SEC dominant. Basically, they pay players 40 G's and stack them and transfer. So their depth was crazy. So then when that started changing, we slid in there. So now this new era of college football, Miami is there and spending the money they need to be there. And on top, not just spending the money, they're getting money back. People that Joe Echeverria, talking about business guy, Deloitte, obviously the boosters, and these guys know the game. Manny Kadra and the board of directors. These guys are all business people, so they know it's not just spending because you like it and you're having fun. It comes back to you with promotion, with actual money from the Bulls, because the Bulls, you got money from that playoff run from the ACC. So I think it's now beyond just, hey, we're spending money because we want to have the U back. It's more like we're trying to set this thing up so it could be something sustainable over time. And whatever changes happen in college football, we're right there at the top, and we stay there. And that becomes a symbol of our university. So admissions are up for a lot of reasons, but that's an extra reason, and it'll continue to be a reason, just like it was for Alabama. If you're always on TV in front of tens of millions of people every week to see your product on game day, on whatever the game of the night, and then ultimately the playoffs, it's a commercial for your school. So I think we've gotten to the stage where it's now you're getting ROI, you're getting return on investment, not just wins, but actual money and enrollment.
Yeah, no, it's I think it's playoff. Only time I'll ever say this on any show I've been on. Thank you to Florida State and Clemson for their lawsuit. We were able to keep the playoff money. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate that. Salute to you guys. But yeah, like what's interesting with this now, and it's a conversation I'm always interested in with with you and Flo and hopefully one day a Streeter from Canesville, is the conversation of the local talent, the local recruit, right? For a lot of us that are, I live in Central Florida, Joe lives in North Carolina, we always have like the debate why it's important to keep the local guys home. And for you, why is it like to keep the Nick Laniers, the Mark Matthews, the Mark Fletchers, the Jordan Lyles? Why is it important to keep that caliber of player at the University of Miami?
Well, there's like intangible aspects of it in terms of, where your program sits locally. But I mean, we don't have to go to that. This year, if I asked you, Benny, give me the top 4 players in college football.
Yeah.
There's going to be Miami guys in there. I mean, I'm biased, so I'm going to pick 4 Miami guys anyways, but I could credibly tell you, hey, top 4 players in college football this year. Well, Mendoza won the Heisman. He's the number 1 pick. I think we agree he's probably in there.
Yep.
Jeremiah Smith's always going to be in there.
Yes.
Ruben Bain is the best defensive player this year. I don't know anyone who's better than him on defense.
Nobody.
That's already 3, and then the 4th is Malley. So you could pick whoever. I mean, Caleb Downs is a great player. I'm not taking him over any of those 4 guys I just listed personally. Nope. I don't know who else is in that conversation. Who are the Heisman candidates?
Reese.
Yeah, Arvo Reese, Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
Those guys, I mean, look, great NFL talents. They're going to do great things. But talk about college and what they impacted the game. We saw those guys.
Yes.
I saw them. So I would say the 4 best players, obviously Malley and Ruben were our guys. We saw Jeremiah, who was the only guy that gave us problems in Ohio State, really. Caleb Downs played well, but who really gave us problems in Ohio State?
Jeremiah.
And then the championship, I mean, you could say that we bottled up Mendoza, because people were kind of upset about it. But at the end of the day, the guy made a run on us and he won the game just like he won them all. Yep. So you can hate from the outside, but the truth is these were the guys that matched up with us. And, and then our guys, obviously Malley made plays every game and Ruben. So that's the answer. The best players are from here. And you can just look at that evidence and that's what it is.
Yeah. And now you have all the commits so far as of this recording, all of them are from South Florida, which is big, and hopefully more to come. Take you out on this, D. Everybody has a different list of how they put their 4 together. This isn't the Canes Football Hall of Fame, Mount Rushmore. This is the Dmoney Mount Rushmore. We already got Jesse Armstead was the reason you fell in love with the Canes. Who's your top 4 Canes? You can go across sports. It doesn't just have to be football. Who are, for you, your most important, most valuable top 4 Mount Rushmore Canes?
Well, I say Butch Davis because all the guys we're going to talk about, I could give you Sean Taylor and all these people. So I'm just saying this for myself. Butch Davis was my coach. It was my coach. He wasn't giving me orders, but it was the coach of the team while I was out there as a kid. So he really allowed the Canes to become relevant. That's the U part 2. I mean, it's hard to explain to those who weren't around what Butch Davis meant to get this thing stabilized and how ridiculous our roster was with him, with no resources to do it. So I say you have to put him, Jesse. Again, this is my personal for me. I put Cam Ward right there already, just because I don't think people understand what he meant to the next generation of fans. And just nationally, see people doing the thing. Like, he was so, and just knowing him a little bit, knowing his parents, like, intangible wise, the best. You cannot have better intangibles than what Cam Ward has in terms of just IQ, social awareness, and then the football stuff and the confidence. Like, you put it all together, and that's what he is. So he'd be the representation of the Canes to me if I'm putting it outward. Like, hey, this is the guy that's going to represent us. Really, Malachi, you could say the same thing, but I'm not going to put him on there because he's still too young. But you could say the same thing about him. So those are 3. A 4th, I'll just put Sean Taylor just because I saw his whole career from high school on, and he was the best player I'd seen to this day. So as the best player, I'd say you put Sean Taylor on as well. So those are my 4 for me.
Yeah, Sean Taylor is the number. I say I'll give it on every shoulder. And I always say, like, depending on when you have the conversation, your 4 could be different. Like, tomorrow, like, in 10 minutes, you'd be like, oh, man, I could have said this one. Sean Taylor's on that list, and I'll tell the story every single time. I got to see him hit Brian Moorman in the Pro Bowl live when I was living in Hawaii. The scariest hit I've ever seen in my life. It's like watching a car accident in slow motion. Man, you know who I really – again, it changes. Mark Fletcher's on that list for me right now, man, just because that play – not even the play. When he goes over to Malley in the A&M game, Like that leadership, that moment is a moment we've been missing for so long. To see it publicly, right? Like we don't know what like behind the scenes and indoors and all that stuff, but to see that was like, yo, man, I got you. Yeah, Cam Ward is ushering in a whole generation of new fans. Was crazy. And fourth, man, like, dude, it always changes. I'm gonna go Ray Lewis just because with the impact he had, man. Like I felt like he's what made me become like not a Ravens fan, but like watch the Ravens. I was like, oh, hold on, wait a second. He's going there not knowing that he's gonna become Ray and Lewis. You know what I mean? It becomes a totally different beast. And every time I've done it, I've given you a different four because it goes. We had Vish on, and he goes Tim James. I don't even think
basketball.
Basketball, because it's like he's the local guy who stayed home, who like brought, you know what I'm saying? Like Leonard Hamilton was there. I like, dude, that's such an interesting list. That's always interesting. Yeah, big time product too. What are your feelings for this year, man? Spring kicks off in a couple weeks or next week. By the time I'm recording, it already been happening. Like, what are you expecting to see this spring?
Wait, hold on. When does this thing come out? Do you like put on the production on this whole deal? You making like a motion picture out here?
Yeah, dude, it's this like the sequels. I do this shit like Marvel, baby. Like it's out here. Yeah.
Shout out to you, man. By the way, before I even answer this question, you guys are killing it, man. I wanted to do this. So I really want to do your show because this is a little too me oriented. You know, I mean, I'm in front of the camera all the time. Like I don't need too much of me, you know,
there is a lot of you all the time on the algorithm. Yes,
right. And then like this is more your Kane story. So it's a little
self-aggrandizing.
So, so I didn't ask to do this one. I want to just do your show, period. But you guys, obviously, you're putting this. You do such a good job with this. I'm happy to be part of it. But I like your show, period. You guys do an awesome job, the whole team. So it's a show I listen to, and you guys are really killing it. So I want to be on again with the full show when we can make it work and link up. But I want to get that out first. But as far as the team, look, the more I've been around the team on a I'm more around, right? Because even when I knew what was going on, I was a quote unquote insider. It wasn't like I was at work, so I wasn't really with the team like that. Now I'm around a little more. Mm-hmm. So one thing I'm seeing is it's very, very hard to separate the intangibles sometimes from what these guys are doing on the field. And look, there's players that are just maniacs. And maybe and they still have success, right? And maybe they have an intangible quality that goes with it. Like they might be like Antonio Brown. He has good intangibles in a lot of ways. Some ways, maybe not so good intangibles, but he has the ones he's good at. He's here through the roof. The more you're around these players, you realize like the ones that really blow up, they deserve to blow up. It's not just their talent. So like, again, Cam Ward's the example I use the most. He is, if you see this guy, he treats the janitor the same way he treats the president. He acts the same way all the time. Like the way he acts on TV, like you see his press conferences, he always gets in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, because he'll drop N-bombs or he'll cuss and he'll just say, like, he didn't care really. He just acts the same way he does all the time. Yes. That's just how he operates. But then he's also extremely intelligent, both just normal IQ and then also like he's intelligent with people. And then it all translates to the football field, right? So his intangibles are so much further ahead of his physical talent that I think that's what allows him to succeed. He has talent, but he's not Cam Newton. If you really look at him, he's not the fastest guy in the world. He's a good athlete, but whatever. It's not like a decathlon, and his arm is good. But there's a lot of people who have good arms. So I think that's the thing with him. Malachi is 100% intangible. If you put him on a track, he might disagree with this, but I would not bet on him in a race with most top guys.
Yep.
But then the work ethic and the discipline and the way he gives out for his team, no one's better. So that allows him to be the best, in my opinion, the best football player in the country, period, right now coming into this year. And then Fletcher, his intangibles are, I mean, beyond. Do you remember when he was kind of banged up during the year? I don't really follow Twitter discourse that much because my Twitter algorithms is
a mess. It's a mess.
I'm getting like wrestling highlights. I'm really not in the UM Twitter like that. Aside from like when I post something just to get traffic or whatever. But I saw a discourse that people were talking about, like, oh, you know, we got to make sure we play Pringle and sit Fletcher, put Fletcher on the bench. You know, he's not. You remember that thing? And that was like one of the few times I kind of got. I'm like, guys, this is everything you want in a player and a person in your program, and you're mad at him because he doesn't run like Edgar and James. Like
Yeah.
this is exactly what's wrong, in my opinion, with our fan base. When
Yes.
players to attack him, I get it if someone comes in and screws up. You know, Jeff Thomas to me, and he had a tough background. So like I don't want to judge him, but like I can understand frustration with him because he left the team. You know what I mean? Like he did things that were not team oriented.
Correct.
But even then, I don't really get after him because I don't know what he went through a lot. He came from a very rough background. So, but like, this is not that. This is a guy that's done everything for the team. Yeah. And people are on him. Like, this is the guy you're talking about. Shaq Quarterman was the same way. I remember Shaq. People were like, oh, Shaq, we need a faster linebacker. It's like, hold on, this guy's been making 100 tackles since he stepped off campus, and he's the one you're complaining about because he doesn't run like Fred Warner. Like, what are we doing here? So that one upset me. But again, seeing how Fletcher operates and what he means and to everybody and the way he approaches the game, his time eventually came, and now he has all the blessings from that. Francis Mauigoa, Ruben Bain, you can say the same thing about those guys. So like being in it, the biggest thing I've learned is the intangibles with a lot of these guys because they're all talented. That's why they're at UN. That's why they're at all these places. It's the intangibles that separate who succeeds and who doesn't. Every coach says that. It's like a cliche, but when you see it in action, you really, at least for me, have a much greater appreciation for it. So to your question about this season, well, who are the leaders of this team? Malachi Toney, you know what I mean? Mark Fletcher. Mensah, I don't know as well, but met him once. But everything I heard and just kind of observed, awesome dude, came up the hard way, like really earned his stripes and is really grateful to being here and wants to do well. So you put that as your leadership layer. Ahmad Moden, another one, you talked about him and what his kind of, what he wants for himself. And there's others, but I feel good about the team because those guys are good at football and the other stuff. So when your best players are the right mentality, everything else usually falls in line. When your best players are the ones you kind of got to make excuses for, it becomes a lot tougher. Like the Spurs in basketball. Tim Duncan, you never had to worry about Tim Duncan. Dwayne Wade, you never had to worry about those guys. So when that's your best player, it kind of all filters down.
Everybody follows suit.
Right. And you can have sustained success and you could be pretty solid, like not to worry about, hey, this year might go crazy. So I feel those guys being our leaders, I expect it to be a great year. Look, there's going to be spring. We'll see how the offensive line comes together. We'll see who gets hurt. We'll see who steps up. I mean, this time last year, we thought it was going to be Lyle, Trader, and Lofton as the centers of the offense, and ended up being other guys. So still early, but the leadership class, I feel as good about that as I ever have, and I think that's what's going to bring everybody along with them.
Yeah, back to that Fletcher thing, man. It was I doing this. I find it hard sometimes to like not yell into the void of the fan base, but it's like, dude, like, what are we doing? Like, there's always like, oh, this next guy's gonna be better. Hey, bro, do you not like? People forget Fletcher came late, right? They couldn't graduate early, came late, was injured because he gave himself everything in the last half of the season, injured that whole second season. We see what a fully healthy Fletcher was and what he became later on in the season. Like, hey, but we're also like spoiled in a way because we know the monsters that are in that room, and we just think the next guy could be him. There's not Mark Fletchers don't fall from a tree. Like that's not a thing that happens, bro. Like Mark Fletchers don't grow anywhere. Like that leadership and that intangible and the challenges he faced after losing his father. And like we just glossed that over because like, oh, bro, the next guy up. Yeah, man, that I felt the same way. I was like, oh, Pringle will do it. I was like, bro, let's calm down. It's always like the freshmen are just gonna come in and be. I've had that argument 1,000 times. Like the freshmen are just gonna come in and take over. Also, we just never play sophomores. We're just always gonna play just freshmen. Oh, because this next class is gonna be better. No, man. Like also give people time to develop. It happens. It's crazy.
And I love Pringle. I love the other guys too. It's like you have to take the other guy. You have to go attack the other guy to say this guy's going to play. And then obviously you get to like the playoffs and the things that Pringle's not good at because he's a freshman, right?
Yes.
And Arvo Reese is coming up at him trying to knock him. It's in the next universe.
Yeah.
Fletcher goes in there and it's brick wall. Like they're different. Yeah. So to me, I want all these guys to succeed. And
absolutely.
They all have they're going to have their opportunities. I think all four of these running backs, they're going to get their chance over the course of the year because that's how that position is. But I saw with Mark Fletcher, I saw with Shaq. Those are the ones that really, really jump out to me. Like, don't attack the guys that are doing everything right. Yeah. Because they're not these legends in your mind. Like, that's your problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you're grading them against you're grading them against the greatest of all time. Hey man, there's a reason why they're the GOATs. Like there aren't many of those. It's just I felt the same
maybe
way.
they turn into that. Like let them grow. As we saw with Fletcher, there was another level people didn't realize he had. So like just let him grow. But that was we're going on a tangent, but that was one of the rare times where I kind of jumped in like that because that's just like that upsets me like nothing else. Restrepo was like that the year before. Remember Restrepo, the whole thing where they were like, oh, his roommates with TVD, and then Ja'Cory Brown came in and threw it to him 25 times in a game. Like, I mean, he must have been his roommate too. Cam Ward must have been his roommate too when he made All-America. Like, why are we attacking the guys that are doing the things we want to be done and representing the correct way? That
absolutely. Look, and I was guilty of that with X, right? Because like he has the year where he like has a downfall. Not thinking Xavier is going to become X. Where I was like, I'm thinking, Ray is going to come in because he's a little quicker. And look, and that's part of the business. Not thinking, and I got caught up in it. It was like, hey man, they also develop. They also work on their shit, like, and they figure it out. That X was the one that like shut me up. I was like, all right, I'm never having that take again. Where like I don't know what they're gonna develop. And even when a player struggles, be it whoever is here and no longer here, I'm not gonna look at it that way because sometimes it's not your path. It's a different way for different people. Like JoJo might ball out at NC State. You know what I mean? Like Ray might ball out at his next stop. That might happen. That has nothing to do with us or why because we're gonna see it, right? The last tangent. Like we're gonna see it. Like people are gonna be like, oh, see, Kevin Beard failed so and so. I was like, hey, bro, sometimes you need a fresh start because some players that stay locally, it's a lot of pressure to stay locally and be like, yo, why aren't you playing? Because you're around the same people all the time. Like that's another part of that staying local, right? Like that's the part that they don't think about. Oh man, it's just it's crazy.
It's different times in their lives. I mean, we got CJ Daniels when he was 24 years old. We got Keelan Marion when he was 23. I mean, those guys were ready to rock and roll. I mean, I think JoJo could easily have a huge year next year at NC State. I love the fit for him. Does that mean that he was going to be doing the same thing as Ohio State last year? I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. There were opportunities where it wasn't it wasn't seized, right? So it's all time and place. But yeah, man, that was the X thing. I think you were probably doubting X because people think that Hispanics cheer for other Hispanics. I think they're good. Most Hispanics are like they expect those guys to fail because we've seen kids that were good growing up and then they end up hitting a ceiling. So
I'll tell you why I doubted X because he always fell for every catch. That year before he became like the leader in every catch, regardless who was around him, he would just fall when there was yak. So it was like a very stupid analysis and not narrow way to look at it. And then it was like, oh look, it's fucking X, bro. Like you know what I mean? Like
you grew up with him.
It was like, hey, you got to see him. Yeah, you got to see it. It was like, oh, this is his ceiling. And we saw 20 years of a version of that, right? Like you go back through the names of receivers, like, oh, I guess he's just the next one in line, not thinking that there's actual grown-ups and real coaches in the room that are going to improve him, which we give coaches a hard time. It was like, hey, bro, X is a proof of development. These players give them time and it happens. And it's not going to be for everybody because the rooms are not the same rooms that there were before. It's not just 2 or 3. Now there's 9 in there that are monsters. And you're going to have to fight for it. It's different now. Yeah, it's just.
Here's a rule of thumb that I've learned. When you're making excuses why a guy does well as opposed to why a guy doesn't do well, you want the guy that you're making excuses for why he does well. Remember X, the excuse was, he's getting the ball a lot because he's Van Dyke's roommate. So people were making excuses for his success.
Yes.
And I won't say other people, but other people are like, oh man, this guy, he's great, but he's not getting the ball because this guy didn't like him or because he's hurt. When the guys you make excuses for, like why they're not doing it, are usually the ones that aren't going to make it. The ones when you're making excuses for, like, oh man, he's a product of the system, whatever, he does this and that, he's a coach's pet. Those guys typically are the ones that are going to. I'd rather bet on those guys than the ones that are making excuses why they're not getting it done.
Yeah, because we have like such we don't have all the data, right? Like we don't see how they practice. There's a reason why the coaches like them because they're doing all the extra shit that you don't see. Like we see 3 hours on a Saturday. That's it. And we make these judgments on everything else. And getting to be in the building and seeing how they work. Like, I got to meet Cam Ward. Cam Ward is exactly that same person on the press conference as he is in person. He's like, he came up to us like, hey, man, where do we go fishing? Like, where can I go fishing? It was like, just like randomly. I felt like I known him. It was like, that's who he is. And Mally, same thing. It just becomes, yeah, man, it's just so weird. But that's fans, bro. What are you going to do with fanatics? We went on a crazy tangent there. I don't even know where that started and it happened. Let everybody know where they can find you before we get up out of here, and we will have you on the show, on the full show soon. I just wanted to make sure we get this conversation out.
No, man, my pleasure, man. And again, sorry for boring everybody. No one really wants to hear my story, but I mean that you kill with the show. So hopefully I don't kill your success, you know. I know you've been hitting them good. So I don't wanna mess up your rhythm. But
now
but
we keep killing it, man. We do.
You guys can find me at CanesInsight. We're on every day, 9 o'clock. So usually 9 o'clock. We're pretty consistent these days. I was a little 5 minutes off here and there. Now we're pretty consistent at 9 every single day. And just subscribe to the channel. We do a lot of like live streams and stuff like other times a day, just when stuff happens. We cut up videos. If you don't want to watch the whole show, we got little segments off what we do. And then, of course, CanesInsight.com. I got some stuff coming there. I got some big announcements with CanesInsight.com, the website part of it. You can check that out. Biggest message board for the Canes by far. I mean, we got, like I said, 7.9 million posts and counting. Millions of hits. So that one is the top dog as far as message boards, free. So that helps the community kind of come together because you don't have to pay. There's no wall separating everybody. So that's it, man. You can find me those places. You can. I do storm sessions for the school, which is like sit down interviews. I got one with Ruben Bain, which should be coming out sometime soon, which is really good. Which is like getting to know the players. We do that for the University of Miami. I got some other stuff going on now that you guys will see, I'm sure, on social media soon with I don't know if they've announced it yet, but I'll let it come out when it comes out, but you'll see my face doing more player oriented stuff on social media pretty soon. But yeah, man, you see too much of me, so probably tired of seeing my face on the timeline.
Yeah, man, definitely. Deep, man, appreciate your time, man. It was a good talk, man, and appreciate you fighting through with me when I lost power in the middle of nowhere for absolute no reason, and the storm's gone now, so we're good. So that we had our own storm session, literally. You know what I mean?
I'm just glad you're all right, man. I thought it was going to be like one of those deals where we wake up, it's black and white. There's dwarves running around and all that.
Yeah.
So
it would not have been a good time if I see some monkeys with like wings and shit. It would have got dicey, bro. It would have got dicey. All right, man. We're out of here. Hope y'all enjoyed, man. Like, share, subscribe. Peace.